as we know, the San Francisco 49ers need a little bit of help at wide receiver with Brandon Ayuk going down for the season. And so DeAndre Hopkins was a name that was thrown around as a name that I talked about that I would like to see the 49ers go out and try to get, because you could probably get him for about a fifth round draft pick and he could fill a role for the team that is obviously down one of their top wide receivers. So unfortunately, the Kansas City Chiefs, our favorite team, uh, has traded for him. They have given up a fifth round draft pick, which is a conditional pick, which means I don't remember exactly the conditions. I apologize, but it has the opportunity to turn into a fourth round draft pick if he meets certain criteria. So I'm not super concerned that the 49ers missed out on DeAndre Hopkins. I just more, it's like the Chiefs, like, especially after this week, especially after, Brandon Ayuk gets lost because of the Chiefs, and then the Chiefs come in and swoop in and they get DeAndre Hopkins to pair up with Patrick Mahomes, which is honestly a phenomenal pairing. When you talk about DeAndre Hopkins and you talk about what he brings to the table, I mean, he's been with the Tennessee Titans just wasting away because they don't have a quarterback. And one of the things with DeAndre Hopkins is he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he is a very technical, savvy route runner, and he has probably, arguably, still some of the best hands in the NFL. So you just need a quarterback who's on the same page with you and who's going to throw you the ball, who's going to give you opportunities to go up and get 50-50 balls. And that's exactly what Patrick Mahomes is going to do. So it actually is a phenomenal pairing. If I have to be honest with you, I have plenty of DeAndre Hopkins stock in my fantasy leagues and things like that, dynasty included. So I think it's a good pairing for DeAndre. I think he's going to see a little bit of a resurgent here late in his career, and it's just the I don't know if the 49ers were actually interested in him. I felt like if they wanted to, they could, because of the connection between Rand Carthon and John Lynch. Obviously, Rand, the current GM for the Titans, came from the San Francisco 49ers organization. So I don't know what the 49ers plans are for wide receiver. I don't know if they do plan on adding any wide receivers and all those, different types of things. But I do think that, you know, I don't know. This is the way that I look at it, because I've seen both arguments. Some people have said the 49ers don't need a wide receiver. They have a first round draft pick. They've got Jacob Cowing, Chris Conley, Debo Samuel, Jawan Jennings on the roster, and they should be good to go. But when you talk about those names that I just mentioned, they've all missed time with injury. Debo Samuel's missed time with injury outside of the pneumonia. Jawan Jennings didn't even play against the Kansas City Chiefs. Before Ricky Pearsall got shot, he missed all of preseason with an injury, a shoulder injury. Jacob Cowing missed a lot of training camp. So I understand, like, the thought process of we got some good players, we got some good wide receivers, which I don't disagree with. But the element that I don't think is being discussed is the reason why we are discussing adding a wide receiver to begin with is injuries. They happen to everyone, and it's not something that you can get away with. So what happens when Debo Samuel goes down, or if he goes down, or Jawan Jennings goes down? You're just going to rely on rookies to be able to go out here and try to beat man coverage and try to, play in the biggest moments, as they're just trying to get their feet under them and they're just trying to, like, get a grip on the NFL. Jacob Cowing's the most significant snaps that he's ever played in his career was against the Kansas City Chiefs. So you believe that that is something that you can just rely on and bank on to all of a sudden turn into a, 50, 60 receptions a year type of wide receiver just right off the rip after getting thrown in? Same thing goes with Ricky Pearsall. I mean, the guy hadn't practiced for like 2 months, and he's just coming in. So even with Ricky, he's still getting up to speed. It's not like he's just like, he needs some time to develop. He needs some time to get acclimated. So that's my pushback on that is you need you need to get some more bodies in here because it's a war of attrition. We don't know who's going to be up all season. We don't know who's going to go down. So you have, and the trade deadline doesn't last forever. And then once that's closed, it's not like you're going to be able to just pick guys up off the streets that are going to be able to come in and contribute at a high level. So I would say one of the best case scenarios for the 49ers is you go after someone who is on a team that isn't going anywhere. They're going to move off this player anyway, so you can get them at a discount. So I'm in the mindset of you find a player at a value. I'm not. I don't really want to see a first, second, third round draft pick spended on it. Obviously, you go out and get a Garrett Wilson. I've heard that name thrown around. That's great. He does help you now and in the long term, but he will be pricey. So if you can get someone, maybe a Deontay Johnson now, someone that can come in and provide a veteran presence. I do think that was one of the reasons why I wanted DeAndre, is because I don't think you have to be careful going with a younger wide receiver because you want to be able to get someone who can acclimate to your scheme very quickly. We've seen time and time again receivers getting traded to another team, and it takes like a month for them to really get acclimated into the offense. That doesn't help you. You need someone who can hit the ground running within a week, is out there playing for you. So I still am the mindset of that it probably would bode well for the San Francisco 49ers to go out and trade for a wide receiver. But again, not sitting here saying they need to go out and shoot for the stars and they need to go out and get a huge playmaker at wide receiver. They need someone who can contribute. They need someone, obviously, who could fit well into the scheme, blocks well, can hopefully beat man coverage and things like that. So I think it would I think it would make sense. Now, maybe the 49ers just didn't have any interest in DeAndre Hopkins. That's perfectly fine. So, I'm curious to see, well, like, what other options could they potentially go for, and who they think could fit. Obviously, we heard Rams Cooper Cup might be a guy who's available. I don't think the Rams will trade Cooper Cup to the 49ers, and if they were going to do that, I think that says more about what they actually believe um, about Cooper Cup. So I would be hesitant about that. We obviously talked about Deontay Johnson. Mike Williams has been discussed. I'm not a fan of Mike Williams. I was at one point, but not so much right now. I just think he's at that point in his career. He's always hurt, and that's the opposite of a guy that you're looking for. Adam Thielen potentially. I wouldn't mind it. I don't love it. He's obviously coming off IR. Deontay Johnson, I think, makes sense. But another one that I think really makes sense is Christian Kirk. I think Christian Kirk provides something in regards to kind of your natural slot wide receiver. Now, again, it's not an X. He's not necessarily an X type, but he's a productive wide receiver, and he's 27, 28 years old, and he's a very savvy route runner. He can beat man. I think he would find a lot of success in the scheme. So I think if I had to have some top two targets right now, it would be Deontay Johnson and it would be Christian Kirk. So that those are just some high level names that I've seen. I could do a little bit more digging to try to find some other names, but right now, just based